All right, here is the new front of house controller. It is basically your standard Behringer X Touch with the motorized faders, paired with mixing station. Now here's why I've chose to do it this way. I absolutely love mixing station, and it opens up so many options for controlling the Behringer platform of mixers, and it honestly adds some feature sets that you don't see until some much more expensive consoles, until you get into some of those tiers of controllers or consoles, I should say. But it adds so many amazing features like custom layers, and which kind of allows you to be able to put channels anywhere based on your workflow, things like that. So I've opted to go this way. Mixing station can take MIDI and backy control protocols natively, and so this is pretty amazing. Honestly, this is just so great. So what I have is really pretty much your standard, and it's very responsive. It's honestly just as responsive as if my finger is on the touchscreen here, and you'll even see that it integrates very well. So what I've done is mapped a bunch of buttons here. I have my sends on fader for mix 9. I actually have mix 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1 through 8, 9 through 16, and then when I do that, you can actually see that the screen here changes. And what would be amazing is to have a really big screen here, right? Anyways, what I also have here is I have these mapped specifically to the aux inputs. So I did 1, 3, 5, and then the USB. Reason being is because I typically have aux input 1 and 2 stereo linked, 3 and 4 stereo linked, 5 and 6 stereo linked. I just have the offline version loaded up here on the app. So this just gets a couple more faders for that. They're not crucial faders, so I don't really need the big motorized fader. Anyways, but yeah, I mean, I've mapped my user layer, which is kind of like my go-to order of my go-to workflow for this specific band that I'm kind of setting up for. I've got a tap delay here. This is really nice. This is basically a single channel, just moving over down the layer by a single channel. So that's kind of nice. Nothing mapped here. I wish this could be mapped, but it's MIDI language. Works a little bit different. On here I actually have controls for the USB player on the X32, so I can actually go to a file, press play, and then bring up the USB channel there. I'll actually flip to that. As you can see, that is reflected. These aren't motorized faders, so I don't really want to even control it with this workflow now, but I could send that up, but then once I get here, until I match that value, there we go. Now we're controlling it. Anyways, moving on. So that's a really cool feature. I can have music set up on a flash drive to play for break music, pre-show music, things like that. And then, have the first file is like the band's intro, hit play, and really that's mapped to the, like I said, the USB player. So I basically have the same functionality there, but on a physical tactile button, which is stinking cool. Moving along on the buttons here, I've got a tap tempo mapped for the stereo delay effects, which is usually effects 3. And then here I have my different layers. I have inputs 1 through 8, 9 through 16, 17 through 24, 25 through 32, the aux inputs, and I've got my DCAs, which these would typically be at Unity. And then I've got, like I said, my user layer here, which is then mapping to my faders here really nice. I actually won't have the these drum channels here typically. And here's what's amazing. I can literally just get rid of them here. And there we go, you know. So it's really like this is the brain of the console, if you will. Although it's not, it's, you know, it's just a wireless controller. And this is really controlling the wireless controller. It's pretty stinking amazing. Moving along, so that's the layer, you know, selection buttons for mute groups. That's also my layer for effects returns, and then the matrix mains. This fader is always the main. That's how it's mapped currently. I could change that if I want, but I like it because it's actually labeled that way on the physical hardware. Don't have anything on these yet. Oh, there might be something there, just because it's giving me a light. Anyways, nothing on these yet. And then, like I said, these are the sends on fader for those mixed buses. Nothing here, nothing here, nothing here. This could be a good tap tempo too, because there's even a little thing there for beats. This screen doesn't function in this mode, and these buttons change the mode for these rotary encoders. I'll probably always typically have it on gain or pan, and then when it's on pan, these act as a pan, you know, for bass. So I'm gonna go all the way to the left. Very responsive, with no lag at all, which that's fantastic. And that does show here on the encoder, which is great. You know, that integration is pretty seamless. I can go over here. This would then be like the compressor. It would flip these to some compressor settings. I don't really plan on doing much with those, just because I really love the touchscreen for being able to like just navigate. And I have no idea how that got how this got put out of order. There we go. But I love, honestly, the ability to quickly, you know, EQ things like this so much faster than having, than the even physical console. And I have a full-size X32. Honestly, this is going to probably be used more because through Mixing Station, through the custom layouts, I can put any channel where I want. Even if I'm using this directly with the X32 over a local area network, I don't have that ability. I'm subject to the architecture within the X32, and this is why I just love Mixing Station. And plus, like I said, all of these compressor, you know, modes, and then I can easily just hit the select button for what I'm wanting to change, and it's pulling all that up here. So, you know, if I need to go over to the snare and dial in a quick EQ, you know, turn on the low cut, let's get a little bit more beef out of it. I'm going to take out some boxiness, maybe a little bit of the harsh chirp, and then let's get some nice whack, or if I want to use this for air, Look at that, I can do a high shelf here and then get some nice smack out of that. That literally took me 10 seconds to dial that in. Same thing for the compressor, you know, like it's really, really great, the iPad functionality. And you know, if we need to turn a gate on, which is an expander there, you know, it's just the ability to you know, the quick ability to do all this because of the touchscreen is amazing. The feature set that you get with Mixing Station is amazing. I just love physical faders, and so the fact that this can just take the MIDI information is just amazing. This workflow is going to be really, really, really great. And as you can see, I've built it into an all-in-one case. This is technically more of like a DJ controller case, and then I will be putting like PowerCon and a network, you know, jack on the outside here, and then I'll mount a power strip in there, and then yeah, so, and again, it's all, like, the really amazing thing is the fact that this is all going to connect wirelessly. I don't have to plug in any cables, and yet I still get physical faders, and I still have the quick, the quick speediness of, as dumb as that sounds, the quick response of having, you know, touch functionality. So if you really look at the feature, or like the features that you get from this type of setup and the function, you know, you don't really see that in physical consoles until you're paying well into, I don't know, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 plus for a physical setup. And so I think that this is an amazing pairing of Mixing Station and the X-Touch. I also do some work in the studio, and so I'll be able to take this in there and get some physical faders and not having to mouse around in the studio. But and then this is just your basic run-of-the-mill Korg Nano Control 2, and like I said, so those are all mapped to specific channels. So yeah, anyways, wanted to make this quick video on this. And actually, I just got done with my lighting console build out as well, so that's super cool. We'll literally be able to have front of house up and running within probably 5 minutes, which is amazing. So all right, that is all.